industry is mostly male dominated. What I had to do first was know my onions, know what I was doing. There's no one so that you'll be able to offer something on the table. So if you're whatever you're studying, even whatever it is, you must really know it and understand it so you have something to offer. And when you have something to offer, people want to listen to you. So that was the first thing I had to do. Then secondly, you have to be willing to put in the work. So you're not just getting to the office if the office is using just 8 to 5. You're not just doing the regular thing. You have to put in the work. Need to put in something extra into it. So just because, first of all, we're in the African industry, and it takes a lot for male to respect you, even as a lady on site. And you now imagine if you're young and you have a lot of other ones above you. I know one thing they listen to is that knowledge. Once you understand it, and they know that if they take one step, you're probably taking 5 steps ahead of them. Then it's a little bit easier for them to accept you. Yes, it will take time, but they start accepting you, taking you as one of them. But would they remember that, yes, there's a female among us, let's be nice, let's not do this, because on site, they tend to be more crude than, well, do they remember then that there's a lady among us, yes, and they're more cautious about it, yes. But you have to put in the work, you have to be dedicated, you have to be empathetic, you have to be kind, you have to be, it takes a whole lot than just knowing what's in the book. But above all, you just need to know your onions and put in the work.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. The next question I have is for Ms. Kemi. You talked about, finding what you were best at, and, you followed that, as well as counseling, from your parents, advice from your mom. In as much as, thankfully you got good advice, good counsel, did you struggle, with this, like at any point during your study, and you felt like, was this actually the best decision? And how did you, overcome that? How did you go through it? What are the things you did? Any help you sought or anything like
that? Yeah. So undergraduate wasn't really easy. And then, like Mr. Taiwo said, we were Q1 surveying. I studied in the University of Lagos. We were the first set, so we were more like the experimental set. When I first heard of quant surveying, my thought was just estimation of construction works. Didn't know that there were so many layers to quantity surveying. I remember going into progressing from my diploma to my second to 200 level. The whole concept of quant surveying started to feel a bit abstract to me and vague when we were talking about contracts, especially on contracts or valuation and how to do this, or preparation of material schedules. It was very vague to me, but the thing is, you just have to persevere. Nothing is easy. You keep learning and understanding that whatever you learn in your undergrads, or the knowledge that you gain when you are in the field, when you are doing the actual work, field experience is the most important thing. And I've learned so much from that. But when you are during your undergraduate, you just need to be persistent with your own studies. If you find that there are certain areas that you're lagging behind, and you know that there's a colleague of yours who is better at certain subjects, you can parley with that colleague and try to gain more knowledge from that person. It's never easy, really. Studying is never easy. But yeah, that's just it. There are some times where you find that some of the things are a bit abstract and you don't have that knowledge. And then another thing is, I would advise anybody who is in undergraduate, and I know it's not easy, experience is always key. So even if you are in 200 level, you're in 300 level, if you can at that point in time just find some kind of internship or an office that's willing to just, you can call up any of your parents' friends or your auntie's friends and say, oh, can I come and help out in the office? Just gaining that office experience is also key too. So I remember that was something I did while I was in 300 level, and that also gave me some kind of it enabled me to visualize my knowledge, not just learning about it from textbooks. I was able to put what I've learned into actual, real life experience. And then talking to your colleagues at work, like if you have a superior at work, they will be so willing to help you. That's just the truth about it. When they see that you are willing to learn and you want to learn something, they would want to help you with it. So trying to get, and I know it's not easy, but trying to get that experience is just the key, is the best thing. And that just takes it to another level. And in always learning, always reading about the latest trends, particularly in your field. So not just reading your textbooks, but read wide, watch the news, know what's happening, know about the key things that are trending in your own industry, in your field of work, Like I know in our own industry now, it's tech, tech related, sustainability, things like that. So reading wide and then trying to see how you can, even your knowledge, apply your knowledge in, gain experience from that, no matter how little, even if it's office experience, try to gain that experience would really go a long way, into visualizing the knowledge that you've gained so far. So I think that was what helped me. And the fact that I was willing to learn. And even when I got into office, when I was doing my NYSC, I would always liaise with my supervisor because I was placed under a quantity surveyor. He was a junior QS2 at the time. I think he had just graduated. So, and when he saw that I was willing to learn, he would always help me. And then anytime you are given work, don't just feel like, oh, okay, more work again. I know it can be daunting, doing work on something you don't really have that knowledge, but you start, and then if you get to a stumbling block, you ask your supervisor and he'll be happy to put you through. So that's just how it is. You need to just show that you're willing to learn, you know expand your field of view, not just what you're taught in school, but expand your field of view. Watch the news, read wide, topics that are related to your field, and just try to understand what the trends are. So that's what I would say on that aspect.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mr. Taiwo, you mentioned that you studied quantity surveying in University of Lagos, isn't it? But now you have the PMP. Can you basically draw the link, and let us understand the benefit of what you did to your current job or your current role, and how, disqualifications have helped you so far?
Okay. Like I said, I started my studies back in Nigeria. I studied quant surveying, after which I studied construction management and my master's level. Because how do I put it? Let me just break it down. You want to build a house, yeah? You want to build a house. Like the Bible says, nobody wants to build a house without sitting down to count the cost. That's where the profession quant surveying came about. You need to sit down to count the cost. So, sorry, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can still
Yes.
hear.
Okay. All right. You need to sit down to count the cost. That's where the profession quant surveying came about. So when somebody who's a quant surveyor establish the cost, which is what you call cost planning, you need to know exactly how much it's going to cost me to erect this structure. That's where you start with the cost planning. Then in the execution, somebody needs to build it. But while someone is building it, somebody needs to ensure that all the processes are in play and the project itself meets its objective, which were set at the initial stage. That's when you get the project management angle of it that comes to oversee what have you. Like I said, I moved from one job to another, but it is expected of you to grow in whatever you do in life. Because when you were born, you needed to learn how to crawl before you learn how to walk, and before you know how to run. So moving from quant surveying to project management was when I was in Sahara. I worked in Sahara before I came to Canada. So by then you had realized that there is an opportunity to grow and there's a gap to be filled. So that's why I increased. I went back to studying and doing a certification in project management professional. That's where the PMP comes into play, because you need to manage all the infrastructure we were constructing at that time, and you need to ensure that we get value for money. So that's why I migrated into project management. But then to say quant surveying can also quant surveyors can definitely be project managers, and they are a better one at it because they understand the importance of cost, and they understand the impact time plays on cost as well. So that's what had been my trend so far.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for explanation. It makes so much sense to be able to. I like the way you explained it because, you know, I've heard of quantity surveying, but I've never really understood, you know, how it works and what's, you know, how the dots fit, connect together. But sorry, just a second. But you know, from your explanations, I'm able to see, oh, how, you know, everything fits together. Thank you so much. We have some questions that some of the participants have asked, and I would just want, you know, I think we've touched on it a bit, but sometimes everybody is saying a certain thing, but nobody is actually giving A, B, and C, like a step-by-step guide as to how to go about things. So we've said, you know, gain experience. I like the way Miss Kemi said, you know, talk to a friend of a friend or an auntie of an auntie or something like that. Talk to someone within your network. But someone asked about, you know, career opportunities in Nigeria and abroad. Another person asked about internships. So I think they're sort of linked because the big picture is working in your dream company, but to get there, there are, you know, so many steps to take before you get there. So I just want, you know, everyone to just basically sort of explain what are the things, what are the seeds you sowed or you have sown years ago that you're reaping the fruits now or the benefits now, if that makes sense. So, you know, maybe there was that job that you didn't like, but you did it and you are seeing the benefit now, or there was that, you know, the way Miss Kemi talked about that job that can be a bit tiring, but she did it, you know. So just step by step. And, you know, if you gained any experience or internship in Nigeria, you know, how did you go about it? Before we get to Mr. Taiwo, who is going to tell us how, if we need to escape, how do we escape? I'm just teasing, but yes. Yes. Mr. Ase, would you like to just give us briefly about, you know, your internship? Like, how did you get that internship if you did one? Because I know that in Nigeria, you do NYSC. But nowadays, especially if you want, you know, a career opportunity abroad, sometimes they expect you to have, you're for probably just 18 years and they're asking for experience. And you're thinking, I just graduated, how do I get experience? Do you understand? Or they're 20 and you're saying, what experience do you have in the industry? So if you got an internship maybe before your NYSC or even doing your NYSC or something, how did you go about it? Who did you meet? What was the step like that you took to securing that position?
Okay, Kemi rightly said it. I think something that is not being spoken about a lot or it's not being done a lot in Nigeria is we were studying a course and we don't actively engage with companies to want to just learn. We need to gain that practical experience. If we don't, then you're not ready. Nobody wants, especially in Nigeria system, nobody wants to have to employ someone that is fresh out of the oven without no experience or doesn't have an idea of what is going to put in. So once we're in school, like from year one, once you have an idea of what the course is, you can start going out to look for companies to know, okay, can I do this here? Even if it's for 2 months during the holidays, instead of sitting at home. Because to be honest, most of us actually I did for a long while. My father was one of the people who pursued me out of the house. Like, you have to go and learn so that you're better fit and prepared to enter into the industry, and had opportunities to learn in one or two places. So it was easier, like where I did my not my NYC, where I did my IT, because in uni, like for a 5 year course, it's compulsory that part of the session semester is taken for IT. Was a repeat from where I did an internship briefly. I didn't get paid. And so I always like to encourage them not to focus on what they're going to earn now, especially while they're in school. Because I know that some of them are interested in, okay, what am I going to earn? I'm going to transform myself and all that. But the knowledge you're going to gain, it's especially at this stage, especially if you're willing and open-minded to take as much as you'll be given, you cannot measure it at all. It cannot be measured at all. So we just all need, or they need as well to know that for them to get an experience or ready for work, or when they ask, do you have experience? Because you're going to write that in your CVs. It actually does count that you've worked here, you've done this, even if it's for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, it counts and it matters. I've had the opportunity to also sit down and interviews, and some things that happen is in the school system, it's practical. And while we're in the interview, we want you to even explain, but because you cannot marry what's been taught in the class to what is on the field, it quickly takes you off the table. It's almost like, okay, no, even if you're calling this person, is the person willing to learn? Is the person even ready once you don't have an idea? Because the time effort into putting into training someone sometimes can be so draining. So that people want someone that's a bit ready, has the practical knowledge, even if it's just for a while, has the theoretical knowledge. It's easier to build up that person than nothing at all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was such. Ms. Kemi, I'd like you to focus on, I know, like, how did you secure it? Did you write a letter? Did you walk into the office? Did you call someone? What did you do? Like, so that, there might be people here thinking, yes, I want to gain industry experience, but I don't even know how to go about it. Do I dress corporate? Do I wear ripped jeans and a nice t-shirt and walk into, a professional setting and be like, yeah, what did you do? How did you position yourself, to come across as that person that company wanted, maybe at an interview, if you had one, like, how did you just go about it?
Okay, I'm just going to be honest now. My NYSC, I called one of my mom's friends and I said, I'm going to do NYSC. I need a job. And I know that he was in my field, So I know that I'm not in the same category as most people, but at least I'd already had my experience from my IT. And so they already knew me within that circle. And they knew that while I was doing my IT, even though I wasn't paid much, and I also want to, take on from what Ese has said, you shouldn't focus at that level. If you are doing your IT, do not even, if you are getting an internship, because even internships are very hard to come about. The experience is very invaluable, So because I had already demonstrated my ability, am I willing to want to learn and to work, and not that if they, give me a job, I won't just, making faces of grumbling, oh, how much are they paying me after all? My NYSC, I was paid 5,000 naira per month. So it wasn't, and even then at that time I was young, to be honest, and I didn't really see the bigger picture, but that at least whatever task I was given, I put my all in it. And it was just because of that, the company because there were quite a lot of us who did service together. And I was the only one who was retained, because of my work ethic. And even going through my career, the job I worked with, everybody knows construction industry. If you get a job in a construction company or in a consulting firm, the pay isn't much, but the experience is what you need to build on. Because if you're going to jump to another job, it's that experience that is going to be valuable. They're not going to ask you, oh, how much were you paid at your previous firm, or how long have you worked for? It's the experience, what you can do. And for those of you who, I don't know if you've gone on IT now, even if you don't have anything doing, when you're doing your summer schools, there's YouTube now. In my time, I don't think YouTube was that popular. You can learn so much from YouTube. You can learn Excel. You can learn so many things. If you're in the industry, if you're in the construction industry, you can learn a lot of the tools that we use, like AutoCAD, Revit, and all that stuff. So it's very important. So many things. There are new softwares now. There's Power BI, for financial modeling and things like that. Just do the research on what is trending in your area and then build on that. And go to YouTube, you will find almost any. If you want to learn how to code, if you're into computer science, you can learn on YouTube. Even apart from YouTube, there are other places that were courses. I remember during the lockdown, even Harvard posted some free courses that they were giving to people. So there's so many that the opportunities now for learning is much more expanded than during our own time. So I would advise everybody to take advantage of that, because nobody is going to hire somebody without skills in this day and age, at least even if you don't have it. So during my while I've been, another thing you need to do also, very important, leverage on your network. No matter how small, leverage on your network. Always leave a good impression wherever you're working for, wherever you're working in your IT firm. I mean, where you do your IT, where you're doing your NYC, always leverage your network, maintain those contacts. And so, and I will give an example of this project I was working on that was one of the most time-consuming, most stressful projects, but it was a big project. A lot of people on that project. And because I was very dedicated, so they asked me to collaborate on one of their other projects, which was outside the country. And ever since, I've maintained a relationship with them because they know my value, they know my worth. So it's always important to always invest in yourself, build your capability any way you can, take courses, learn, leverage on your networks. And also your attitude to work also counts. So make sure you always have a good attitude to work.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was
Yeah.
a well-rounded, answer. Thank you for all the, the details that you went into. Okay, so Mr. Taiwo, now I'm sure a lot of people have been waiting for me to ask you this question. How did you migrate? How did how your experience in Nigeria, how did it count? Because from what Ms. Kemi said and what Ms. Ese also said, she said, all those experience, or they said all those experiences count. Your attitude, whether they're paying you 1,000, whether they're just giving you a like transport fare or whatever it may be, they count. So how did your experience in Nigeria help you to secure the job you have now in Canada, or help you to where you are now? Is it really worth it? If I'm actually thinking of, I don't really see myself in Nigeria, why should I actually bother? What would you say, how beneficial would it be now for me to gain experience? I'm not actually I don't see myself in Nigeria, so I don't really think it's necessary. What would you tell this kind of person that, sees themselves abroad, or their family abroad or something?
Yeah, just like Essie and Kemia said, there's always a growing process. That's where you need to sow. You need to keep sowing, and that sowing comes with your experience. Like she said, they were paying her so little, but she was taking on the jobs. She was doing the job. And the thing is this: if you take up a job today, or you take up a task that is so difficult to do, you get to a stumbling block. You ask for help, and you go across the block. You've gained that experience. Tomorrow, if that thing presents itself, you know how to tackle it, you know how to address it, and that's how you improve. I'll just run back through my days. I remember during my IT days, I was paid 5,600, because when she mentioned it, that I smiled, and it cost me 2,500 per week to get to the site. So invariably, I was running at a loss in terms of money. But then I wanted to be there. I wanted to learn. I wanted to see how things were done, which are part of the things that sometimes I go to some places and I want to speak to it. I recall those experiences because those were my foundation days, learning and seeing what I've studied in school, bringing them to reality so I could speak to it because I saw it. I was always going there. I was always asking questions. I was willing to learn. The lady was teaching me. When she wasn't speaking to me, I go to the site coordinator. I ask him, what is this? Why is this? What is this? The man says you ask too many questions. I say, oh God, sorry, no vex, but that's what I came here to do. If I know, they would have probably hired me, like, be your guy, but I don't know, I'm your boy. So the man will always laugh. After that, then he will explain to me, takes me around, shows me what I wanted to know and how we need to go about it. And that was me always asking questions, being inquisitive, willing to learn, willing to understand. And then I remember my NYC days. When we were posted out of the camp, I was posted to PPMC because there's PPMC in Suleja. So I was posted close to the place. So, and kept saying, "Come back today. We need to sign. We need to sign." And I looked at myself. I like, come on. If I'm here, what am I to benefit in this PPMC? Because the guy said, "Ah, they'll pay you so well." And I like, sorry. I said, "Can I see your DM?" I met the man. And like, sorry, can you reject my letter? And the man said, why? I said, I'm going to be here. I don't think I'm going to gain anything. Just reject my letter. He said, okay. And he rejected my letter. And I went to the ministry. I saw the administrator. And like, okay, can you accept me here? I'm a conservator. He said, we're not going to pay you. I said, don't worry, don't pay me. He said, are you sure? He said, yeah. He said, we're not going to give you accommodation. Even if we're going to give you, we're going to give you after 6 months. I said, okay, don't worry. Just accept me. And he accepted me. The ministry never paid me till today.
Wow.
They gave me accommodation after like 8 months. So, but what I wanted to say, like I met people. I met my departmental head who gave me an invaluable advice. He told me that where he's sitting today, I said, how come you're sitting here and the older man is sitting there? He said, because I became certified earlier than the man. And I really, he said, yes. He said, he gave me a lot of advice and he told me some things. He said, do this when you, it's just like he told me, make hay while the sun shines. Do you understand? So I took that back. And one of the things Kemi said, she said, make a good relationship, which means your network is your net worth. So I came back to Lagos. The man even told me, I like you, copper, but I cannot employ you. If you were up to me, I would have, but it's a ministry. I'm like, oh God, don't worry. And we went back. I went to Lagos. He was in Mina and all sorts. I took the man's advice. I was doing my master's. I was in my master days. I remembered. So I started my certification. The NIQS. Kemi spoke to you about Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveying. Then after you move to RQS, Registered Quantity Surveyor, where you get the stamp and the seal. So I took the man's advice and I started acting on it. I acted on it. Lo and behold, the day of my interview, I did register late, and the day of my interview, after passing my exams, my competencies exams, they told me I have to go to Abuja, and I flew to Abuja. When I flew to Abuja, and they told me, "Oh, you get to the front of your interviewer." Guess who was there? It was my director. So imagine going back to what Kemi said. If I had a bad relationship with him, this profession speaks about ethics. So first and first, on my ethics, I am zero because my ethical behavior wasn't right. But I had a good relationship with him. The other person who sat next to him, two people on the panel, said, we don't need to interview him. He's your boy. That's what the man said. But the man said, no, test him to be able to show that me as a teacher, I am worthy. So he said he's not going to ask me a question. The man should ask me all the questions. So the man asked me all the questions and I was able to answer because most of it I actually learned from the man. And that's how you build yourself. Because Essay said to me, no man is an island. You need to learn from people. You need to identify your weakness. What does that mean? You need to do an evaluation of yourself. If you do it on a daily basis, if you do it on a monthly basis, or you do it on a weekly basis, it all depends on how you want to do it. But then say, where are my strengths? Do a SWOT analysis of yourself. Where do I need to go? What are the opportunities around me? What can I improve on? So I did those certifications. I got another job. I went to Sahara. I was in the oil and gas because I moved from pure wet construction, real estate construction to the oil and gas industry. So I was trying to understand it. The owner, when he interviewed me, I'll go back to that one. He told me that he asked me a question. He asked me what my salary was, and I told him, and he had told me something. He said, "That's the one reason why you want to work for me." I told him, "No, whatever you pay me, I was going to do it because I wanted to understand what this construction is all about, because it was a different kind of construction. It is not where you do the wet construction like the building, the concrete. These are steels. You need to weld the steel. You need to understand the welding. You need to know where the pipe are. You need to. So when I speak, sometimes people think I'm a mechanical engineer, but I'm not. I'm just a quantity surveyor. Do you understand? So those were what I was learning those days. And a colleague of mine came to me and he told me, in this profession, the guys who do the cost, they have a certification called CCP. You need to go and do it. And I started. It cost me a whole lot of money. I remember I needed to pay somebody in Dubai to be training me. I needed to buy an iPad. I was just reading and reading and reading and reading. Then I got the certification. Was in certification instrumental to where I am today? Sure, it was. Because in Canada, it is a respectable certification. Not everybody has it. Few people has it. In America, when I say I have it, they always ask me, where did you get it? And to be fair, I got it in Nigeria. And it was the single longest exam I'd written in my life. It was a 5 hours exam.
Wow.
Yeah. But I put in my efforts. Reading every night. But nobody sees all that. But what people see is what is out there. Nobody sees your efforts. Nobody sees your inputs. Everybody sees your outputs because the input determines the outputs. So the inputs is what you need to do yourself. You need to, when you don't know something, you need to go say, reach out to people. Sometimes you can actually reach out to people on LinkedIn to say, guys, do you have a minute to explain this? Some people will, some people won't. Like Kemi and Essa said, there's YouTube now. YouTube is invaluable to you sometimes myself because you need to refer to some things. Some here, even in Canada, I go to YouTube to understand what this process is, to be able to visualize it and to be able to put a price to it. You need to learn, you need to keep learning. Here was when I learned how to use CostX. I didn't know how to use CostX, but the day they introduced me to it, the entire weekend I was on the computer learning CostX. Can I use the application? Yes, I can. So to a large extent, people might show you something, but the way and how you embrace it and improve yourself on it goes a long way, and it has to do with you yourself. So you need to understand that the growth has to come from you. The determination to grow has to come from you. The aspiration to be where you want to be has to come from you. So you need to look at where you can get the practical experience, even if it's costing you your maybe your pocket money or whatever, it's your sowing period. Then because there's one thing that I show in life, it's the law of sowing and reaping. You would definitely reap the harvest. So the sowing might just be a time where you're struggling, but just always look at it that because there's a lot of harvest, it will surely take place. So you need to keep aspiring, you need to keep you need to keep preparing yourself for what is to come. Like I say, you need to keep preparing yourself for what is to come.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm sure that we have learned a lot. I really like the diversity, the different angles that everybody has taken it from. I like the way, we've gotten like a well-rounded like answer, some very robust, you're not getting just someone who is saying, sorry, I think there was a bit of, sorry, just a second, please. There's a lag somewhere.
I think it's gone now.
Okay, thank you so much. And for me, like just hearing, great minds share their own success journey. I'm sure that anyone has any question, please can you send it in, or if you want to ask any question, can you just raise your hand so that you can ask your questions. So I'll just give us like 5 minutes, if you have any questions. But just in summary, like what I've learned so far, just keywords that I think, if you can't remember, I feel like everybody has shared very insightful, journeys and stories that, even in my sleep now, I'm sure I'll be hearing some people's voices, as to how, they did what they did and how they are where they, dedication, knowing our onions, being able to be tested and, trusted, if that makes sense. The way you were called at the interview and you're like, test him to show, and then how Miss Essie also talked about how, she knows her onions and that's what makes her, stand out in her industry, that is dominated by men. Experience is key as well, is something that, I've learned. And just to share a brief story, there's a girl that works, she came for an internship at the company I work for here in London, and just having a chat with her one random day as to how, she secured the position and all that, and how she got there. And it was just an internship, like uni internship. And sometimes the way Ms. Kemi shared about how, some people may not be as privileged. So sometimes you might think, oh, my father is not a senator, my father doesn't know this person, my father is just this, my father is just that. But if you think of how we are, sometimes this comes to mind as well, as to how we need each other in this world. Some people, everybody cannot be doctors, we cannot all have lawyers, we cannot all be engineers, we cannot all be quantity surveyors, we all need ourselves. So this girl's father is a plumber. Just as I'm narrating this story, I'm just waiting for people to ask their questions or indicate by raising their hands if they need to ask, if they want to ask it online. And her father is a plumber, and he basically does plumbing work for one of my manager in the office. And that was how, his daughter, who is studying law in uni, got that connection or that opportunity for that experience. So sometimes you might be thinking, oh, maybe my father needs to be a minister, or he needs to know someone high and mighty, or needs to do this or needs to do that. Even if, your parents are not that influential or whatever, in whatever circle you are in or you find yourself in, there is going to be some form of some link somehow to someone. But if you keep quiet, nobody would know what you need, and you don't even know if help is just by the corner. So maybe if he's the girl I was talking about, that her interest, gaining, who knows? She wouldn't have known that her father knew a lawyer who could help her secure, that opportunity. So I don't want us to firstly look down on our own circle or our own network and think, oh, I need to be high there, or be a politician's child, or be connected, or blah blah blah, or know someone that wherever you are, there is a link somewhere. You just need to signify your interest. And even maybe the link was not there before you told that person, but it can pop up, and then you be that person that comes to mind that, oh, Mr. A talked about, this experience. I know someone that will be good for the job. So also commercial awareness is something that, Ms. Kemi talked about, how you need to know what is happening in your industry. You can't just turn up knowing back to back of the cover of your textbook what is happening. How can you apply your knowledge to what is happening. You know, I know that in the UK, for example, when you turn up at interviews, they want to know how, you know, like, what do you know that is happening now that would affect our company or will be beneficial, whether, you know, adversely or, you know, positively. You know, what do you know that is going on? And that's something that I really, you know, tech, for example, as we all mentioned about, you know, tech softwares, and we can utilize, you know, all the resources on YouTube, for example, you know, Google. You know, I was looking at learning something about a new area recently, and I just thought to myself, let me just even do a Google search, and the answer for free was available. You know, something that I had been quoted like £500 to learn, you know, was available for free. So we need to be, you know, maximizing the opportunities, the tech opportunities around us. Has anyone sent in their questions yet? Or
No one has questions, but I'm going to put someone on the spot. Ebube, unmute your mic, please, and ask a question. Thank you.
Okay. Concerning the internship and having good relationship with your people, how do you keep a good relationship with maybe in a male dominated environment and they're just trying to take advantage of you? I'm in the engineering field, so and they don't really give you the time of the day, or they don't carry you along as much as the male counterpart. I think I experienced that.
Thank you, Ebube. Very good question. Who wants to? Kemi. Who wants to?
Okay, let me answer this. You say you found yourself in a male-dominated field. I think sometimes you just have to insert yourself, and you will not wait for anybody to call you. Because I'm sorry to say this, sometimes the impression they have of ladies in this field sometimes is that women are lazy or they're not interested in this job. So you just have to show that commitment. You have to say, oh, excuse me, sir, you know, where are we going today? Are we going to so and so project? I would like to come along with you. I would like to learn so and so. You know, sometimes that's just what you have to do. You have to insert, you know. And I remember doing that a couple of times where I would just be in the office, they are going to site, and I'm like, "Ah, why is nobody carrying me along?" And then I just indicated interest that next time you're going to site, please excuse me, sir, I would like to come along with you. And then, you know, I went along with that. But then you also mentioned that I don't know if I got this right, that they may be trying to take advantage of you. Like, in what sense? Is it maybe they're dumping too much work on you, or is it taking advantage of you, maybe sexual harassment? Or obviously if it's sexual harassment, then you need to find how you would excuse yourself from that situation, because that is not something to be taken lightly. But anything else, you need to just insert yourself into the equation. That's the only way people will take you seriously. And when they see that, okay, you want to learn, you know, or you ask them, would you like me to help you do so and so, you know, they see that you're willing to learn, and then they will take you seriously. In fact, anything else that will be put aside, they will take you seriously from then on, you know. But if it's anything that is more troubling than that, then you need to excuse yourself from that situation. That's what I would say.
thank you so much.
Probably Ese, do you want to share? Because you guys are females, you experience it.
Okay, Kemi literally just said it. But if it's sexual, more of social, maybe the engineer trying to ask you out, I'll just, as she said, excuse yourself, but don't be rude about it. Be polite in as much as possible, because I know that they'll try to ask you out just because there are more males than females in uh, the work environment, in the engineering, construction sector, even if you're even in your professional body, we see it happen. But what we advise people is be bold to say no. Don't be ashamed to say no. Don't be discouraged to say no. But if you can excuse yourself from it, do. If you need to escalate to a superior, please kindly do that. Because you also need to protect yourself first.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So
Lekan,
pardon?
did you want to add though? Did you want to add to it?
In terms of the sexual harassment itself, like they said, you need to just escalate to HR because you believe that's an human resource aspect. So you need to tell HR what is going on and let them know if there's a need to be shuffled around the units. You can also let your HR department know. So because HR is responsible for your development and your growth, as well as your remuneration. So that's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have just a few more minutes. And my last question is for everyone to just tell us maybe something they wish they had known or something. Okay, let's put it this way. Maybe a word to your younger self. What would you tell your younger self? Work-wise, uni-wise, if you could see that, Kemi of first year, essay of third year, or like of masters or final year, what would you tell that person? What's the first?
For me, I think I would say maybe going back to my early years in my career, I would say be more assertive. I know there's a tendency I'm going to bring up the word again, in a male-dominated field to just sometimes you subdue yourself or you reduce yourself or you feel like, oh, okay, you are not as qualified or as experienced as your fellow colleagues, or you don't know what you're talking about. But actually, if you have that knowledge, you are as good as your colleagues. So I would say to myself, be more assertive in your positions. Because when I think back to some of the advice I've given clients, maybe in my early years in my career, and somebody else said, no, it can't be so, 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 and so. And I would just, quiver and say, oh, this person is more experienced. So probably he knows what he's talking about. And then at the end of the day, it turned out that I was right. So you need to, number one, be very knowledgeable, gain as much knowledge as possible in whatever you're doing. And then once you have that knowledge, you see that that knowledge comes with so much confidence that nobody would tell you anything. And I would just tell myself to hang in there, just keep on, persisting, keep on learning. And the important network is very important. I think everybody has said how they have benefited one way or the other in terms of network. Like I was saying, I worked on a project, and because sometimes I would be working 15 hours a day on that project. I'm sure Essie and Ose know very well about this. And, I wouldn't get sleep or what, but, at the end of the day, they saw my dedication. They knew that I knew what I was talking about. And then they invited me to, join them on another project, which was outside the country. And it was a very, very good experience. And then also I just switched jobs, and was from that experience, I met somebody else again, and then he offered me a job. So I switched jobs. So net very important. Always never burn bridges completely, except if, oh, it's something terrible. Never burn bridges, because you never know when this whatever industry you think you are, it's a very small industry. And there's a tendency that if you are very good, you will meet these people again constantly all the time. So manage your relationship very well. From time to time, keep in touch. Um, network. Network is key. Network, experience, knowledge. Those are the three things I would say that you should just hone into while you're young, and that will take you very far.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I say, would you want to say anything?
Karen has literally said everything, and but for me, I won't want to change anything. That any experience I had in the university, I had best set of friends to go through with it. They are here, and even as we're still growing professionally, we're growing together, encouraging ourselves, pushing ourselves to be the best we are at. So probably if I want to do a little bit more of anything now, is as hard as you work, you should also play as hard as that to relax, because life is actually very short. And so work hard, play hard, and pray more. So that's just what I would do if I'm to change anything now. Just as hard as I work, play as much, have fun, and as you're doing the work. So which is brings it to the fact that you need to love what you're doing, because as I say in the office, you spend close to 10, 15 hours, as Kenny said, at work. If you're doing that for 24 hours, you need to love what you're doing. So love what you're doing so you can also enjoy it and pray. Yes, put God at the center of it all to tie it all together. Thank you.
So much. Yes, Mr.
Oh,
Lekan.
yeah. So for me, I would say this, which is like my motto. He says, I'll say Proverb 22:29. He says, seest thou a man who is diligent in his work or in his business, he shall stand before king and not mere men. What that means is everything you find yourself in, every situation, in every place you are, try to be as diligent as possible, because this is the word from Proverb, but then we've seen it happen in the life of one of my favorite characters in the Bible. Sorry, I'm going to the Bible, is Joseph. Joseph was diligent even when he was sold to slavery. When he was in Potiphar's house, he was made head of everything except with Potiphar's wife. And he did make mention, how would I do this thing and sin against God? Is to say that he was diligent in what he's doing. He knew what his boundaries were, as the rules that were set to him. Potiphar gave him everything, but not over his wife. So he knew where his boundaries were and he followed the rule. Even when he got to the prison, he still lived by the rules. He was diligent. So because of his diligence, God exonerated him and God took him to through a route that led him to the top. No one will ever thought there's a route like that leads you to the top. All we think was like you need to be close to the governors, you need to be close to the president for you to get to the top. But there is also another route, which that route is a part where you be diligent in what you do.
Thank
So I
you. Yeah, sorry.
no go ahead, go ahead.
No, 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 no. I was just saying thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
because that diligence comes into play. Whatever you do, like I always ask myself, you always need to be diligent and put your best at it, because you need to have a sense of ownership. You just don't say it is work, you say it is my work, it is my own part of it, and it is my responsibility. I need to see it through. I need to see it through to the best of my ability. And that's where diligence comes into play. And those are the things that would distinguish you. And they always speak for you, because they speak for you when you're not there. Like I always say to people, you do a document or you're working on something, you do in a hurry and you submit it. When somebody picks it up to read, he doesn't read it because he or she's reading. It doesn't show that you did it in the middle of the night, that there was no light there. It doesn't show that you were doing something, you were cooking and you were doing it. It doesn't show it. What speaks is the work. So that's why you need to, when you're doing it, you need to dedicate it. You need to ensure that your work speaks for you and they come out with excellence. So we don't. One thing I will encourage every one of us is to say, don't always settle for less, because greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. And the Bible says you can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Sorry, I'm just these are the things I speak to myself. So don't be angry. I'm coming with the Bible side. So
Not at all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the wise words and sharing your experience and your journey with us. We're really grateful. Dr. Ose, would you want to take
I
over
just
now?
wanted to tell them thank you guys. So we've been friends for, is it 18 years, if I'm right? Yeah. So we've been friends for 18 years, and there are a few people I have kept in my life, and they are part of them. So we're like friends on sisters. So Lekan is actually married to one of my friends as well, and Lekan is also my friend. We all study quantity surveying together. So the importance of having network, and I think they're probably you need friends that will tell you the truth, and friends that would also be there with you when you are going through a lot. So there's nothing probably I would go through that my friends will not know. You understand what I'm saying? So probably the times I probably wanted to say, you know what, this QS is not for me. Like I'll go and do music or something. Yeah. I had people like click on that will say, you'll be going to church for video morning to night and stuff like that. Like, babe, you need to settle down, like, or whatever, those kind of things. Like it was all banter and everything. But at the same time, like when we're having like maybe courses we're trying to get sorted out, you understand, we had this like strong bond where it was a case of everybody has to go together, you understand, like we're not leaving anyone behind, you get. So we're always maybe okay when you're going to class, ensure that we keep seats for ourselves. When we're preparing for class, this person has this note, or if at least if you know you're going to miss, if you're missing a lecture, you know that at least there's Lekon, there's Kemi, or because I think there are two chemis here. Or there's essay, there's like you know someone Sha has your back, and there's Ifan as well. So we've been friends for, so I felt it was important to like bring them and everything, because I'm just happy that at least everybody's doing well and stuff. So guys, yeah, the real G's. Thank you so much for I just called them like, and they came. Like is I think it's probably because of how close we are that they call 7 o'clock. He would say he's going to wake up to make it. So I'm really happy that you guys came. So thank you guys so much. Like even myself, I learned a lot. Like so you see why my brain is hot, because I have hot friends. Their brains are hot as well. Thank you so much, Miriam. Thank you so much, Miriam. Guys, thank you so much. And I see you, Uncle Samson. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys. Some people couldn't join because of I think network. So people watch the replay, and probably if anybody has any questions, they can always reach me. And so guys, we'll do this again another time. Thank you guys. So Miriam, I've left back over to you to just end. Thank you. Thank you, Miriam. Gay star.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was such a privilege to, sit virtually at a table with all
Thank
the
you.
great. Thank you. It was really nice meeting you. I'm so happy
Definitely.
that participants as well. And I'm sure that, we trust that with all these words that you've heard today, that it will really make impact, and in a few years you'll be referencing this conference on that podium when you're speaking to and addressing nations and people across the world, that there was this time on so day on the 14th 2020 that either Eseroghene, Lekan, Dr. Ose, somebody said something that impacted you. Such a privilege. Please, build on this. Let it not just lie, follow like in your heart. Definitely go out there and network with people. Build your network. Thank you so much, everyone. I think we have come to the end of today's an awesome time. I've learned a lot. My notes is full. I'm even looking for which bubble to draw, to put in more words. Thank you so much for, taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us today. Thank you very much, everyone. And we hope to meet at the top someday, at some conference. I really hope to see someone from this conference there. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye. Take care, everyone. a blessed weekend.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right,
Bye.
guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
We say what a prayer.
Bye.
Oh, go. Sorry. Everlasting Father, thank you for today. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you that indeed you anchored the whole process. We pray, oh God, that the words we've heard today would make meaningful impacts, that would go out and be, change in our generation and shine your light so bright that men will see your good works and glorify our Father in heaven in the name of Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, Savior. Thank you for all the great minds that have come here. Pray, oh God, that it would only be forward ever. When we hear from everyone, it will be good news and testimonies. In Jesus' name we've prayed. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a blessed weekend.
You
You
too.
Bye.
too. Bye.
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 Bye.